Sun-kissed supremacy awaits us here in Székesfehérvár, Hungary's pentathlon heartland. 5 disciplines, 1 sport. Pentathletes require strength, speed, agility, and buckets of tactical guile. And the pressure is really on today. With places in the men's final up for grabs, 18 athletes are about to put it all on the line. And with temperatures set to soar here today, there's a strong breeze which will offer some relief to the athletes about to compete in the first men's semi-final. Hello to you all and welcome to the Pentathlon Junior World Championships. Well, we look over the animated stadium to give us a view of what we're about to see. 5 fencing direct elimination rounds. First to 5 hits, or the person with the most touches after a minute. We then move on to the 70-meter obstacle course. 8 different obstacles to master, and it's all about time. You're up against the clock as you are in the pool. A 200-meter freestyle swim for the athletes is the third of the disciplines before we move on to the combined laser run. The athletes will complete 1 lap of 600 meters of the course before entering the range. A 10-meter range shooting with laser pistols, and the athletes need to hit the target 5 times before they can move on. There will be 4 visits to the range, 5 laps of the 600-meter course making up the 3,000 meters. And in this semi-final, it's all about the race for the top 9. The first 9 to cross the finish line will progress to the final. Well, much needed day of rest for the athletes ahead of this first semi-final. We'll have 18 of the 36 athletes going in this semi-final. I'm Karen Bashir, and joining me is Youth Olympic Games finalist and African Championship silver medalist, Alida van der Merwe. What a day.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kareem. Really pleased to be here and excited for another action-packed day. Keep our eyes out for Hassan and Mohammed of Egypt, but not also for Lavelat of France, who will look to make his way to the final.
Yeah, he's right down in the rankings after the fencing ranking round, and this is how the athletes will line up for this first semi-final. And we're going to be focused, as I say, on this middle grouping. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The hunt for the top 9 is on. But look at Diego Lavelat of France down in 14th. He'll be looking to progress through this fencing direct elimination round as deep as he can go. Well, here they are. Coming out one by one, Lee Juchuan of Korea, 8th at the 2023 Under-19 World Championships. The best of the fencers in the ranking round. Hume from Great Britain was a bronze at the recent Junior European Championships earlier this month. One of the leaders' top picks, Mohammed Hassan from Egypt, was a bronze medalist at last year's Under-19 World Championships. Neutral athlete Andrei Bobrov was 11th at this edition of the event in 2024 in Alexandria. The reigning champion looking to defend his title, Murtaz Mohammed from Egypt, is the one with the target on his back. Well, from reigning champion to a debutant, making his first appearance of the Junior World Championships, Nazar Sivitsky, another neutral athlete. Got a good laser run. Kirill Karachin.
Representing Germany, Miklos Riga.
This young German is a regular feature on the senior circuit. Miklos Riga in that middle pack. We'll be hoping to do well in the fence.
Representing Ukraine, Danilo Babi.
11th at the Under-19 European Championships last year, Danilo Babi. First of 2 Ukrainians, and here is his teammate, Oleg Rybak. He was 5th at the Junior European Championships just a couple of weeks back.
Representing Lithuania, Jonas Kalaminskas.
He was 5th last year at the Junior World Championships. Jonas Kalaminskas from Lithuania will be looking to impress because the Senior World Championships take place in Kaunas, Lithuania, a little later on this year. Turkey are represented by Kivac Tasjaran. He was 5th at those recent Junior Europeans.
Representing Czechia, Maciej Kornel.
He's in with a shout. Silver medalist from the 2024 Under-19 European Championships, Maciej Kornel from Czechia.
Representing France, Igor Lavila.
Lavila, 6th in 2024 in Alexandria. He will be looking to climb the ranks early doors.
Representing Italy, Denis Agavillo.
Another decorated athlete, silver at the Under-19 World Championships last year, Denis Agavillo from Italy.
Representing France, Karl Federer, Junior European Champion in men's relay.
Well, 6th at the Under-19 Worlds last year, Karl Federer of France will be looking to climb the ranks as well. Final year as a junior for Alessandro Pavellini of Italy.
And last but not least, representing Japan, Yusuke Tomita.
Way down the rankings in the fence, Tomita Yosuke from Japan came into the sport through the bi and triathlon events.
Group A. Good luck to everyone.
So this is Group A, the lineup for the men's semi-final at these Junior World Championships. 18 athletes will be filtered down to 9 will make the final. And we'll start with the fence and the incomplete round of 32. There are just 2 fights in this incomplete round of 32, and it's a straight knockout competition. First to 5 hits, but only a minute, so always get to 5 points. The leading athlete after a minute will go through, and if they're tied on score, it's the higher ranked athlete who will make it through. Epee is a point weapon. You've got to hit the tip of your sword. Whole of your opponent's body is target. There are things called doubles, and that's when the athletes hit each other within a 20th of a second. We're going to have 2 pieces here. The feature piece is Piece A, where we've got Pavellini against Federer underway. And in picture, which a leader is going to keep us up to date, is the Piece B, which is actually behind this referee right here. And it's Tomita and Agavillo on that piece. So we are underway. Pavellini on the left, Federer on the right. Italy versus France, 2 very successful nations in Olympic fencing, as Federer on the redouble gets the first touch.
Score is 1-0 for Agavillo of Italy. Only 28 seconds left on your top right-hand corner, but it's a point for the Tomati on your left. You can score 1-1, only 26 seconds left.
Federer has gone 2 up here. It's really critical to get the first point in these short format epee bouts. Federer will be quite containing and play the percentages here, using his blades for defence, and when Pavellini got too close, picking up his 3rd hit.
Agavillo gets that point there, even making the score 1-2. He has the higher seed and rank, but he gets that 3rd point. Only 8 seconds left on the clock. He's in a comfortable position here, but it's Tomati who'll be looking for fighting back as he does so, pushing into the opponent. Making the score 2-3. Exciting bout here with only 5 seconds left on your top right-hand screen.
Gets the point.
Well, whilst there's a break on B, I can tell you here on A, Federer is in control of this match with 7 seconds left to go.
And it's victory to Agavillo of Italy. We say goodbye to Tomati and see Agavillo against James Hume next.
The winning athletes stay on the pistes for this first, or after this first fight. So no rest for them. They'll move straight into the round of 16. We've got a technical delay here on the pistes as the clock is being readjusted. Has to be done manually. And these the scoring apparatus in fencing is just often referred to as a box, basically, because it looks like a box, but it's got all the information on there, and it's so critical when there's just 60 seconds of fencing in each leg that all the time available, especially to the trailing fencer, is given.
Yeah, and I mean, especially in pentathlon fencing, every second counts, and we've seen yesterday with the women, anything can happen in those last few seconds. So let's see what happens.
Well, Federer has dominated this one, and that's by virtue, and you'll hear us saying this throughout the fencing competition, by virtue of getting that first point.
No touch this time.
So in piece B, we have Hume on your right and Agaverlowy on your left. Hume, the higher seeded fencer here. He's just patiently waiting for the Italian to make his move.
Well, double finishes things off on the feature piece. Federer goes through by 5 points to 1, and he will next face Lee.
Hume just at the back of the piece there, playing it safe, waiting for Agaverlowy of Italy, the Italian with the French grip, making a move, but it's a point for Hume. He's happy with that. Only 15 seconds left for Hume and the Italian.
As that carries on B, we got some brilliant replays of the final hit for Federer on the feature piece as he now goes up against Li Juchuan, highest ranked fencer from the seeding round. As they prepare, the leader, what's going on B?
Hume gets that third touch, winning. Only 6 seconds left in this match. I mean, Hume is really comfortable to win this bout, but it's Agaverlowy who goes for the point, gets the point there, making the score 1-3. Only 4 seconds left on the clock. The Italian will need to make some moves.
We got underway with the round of 16 match on piece A. Federer on the left. Li Juchuan getting the first point.
Agaverlowy, he will be launching himself. It is 1-4, 2 seconds left, but Hume just steps back and it clocks out. Hume victorious of this match and will go to top 8.
Oh, piece B running ahead of piece A here. So we focus on the top fencing ranked athlete, Li Juchuan. As he opens up his lead. Not quite at the halfway stage, so still plenty of time for Federer, but it does mean now that the Frenchman has to push and start taking the fight a little bit more urgently to the Korean.
Really light footwork from Juchuan, really responsive.
Playing the doubles game as well. Was a little lucky to get the double there because Lee was leaning back as Federer came onto him, but 1 point on the scoreboard for the Frenchman. Tries this time to take a circular C-speed, so coming underneath his opponent's blade in a clockwise direction and trying to pick it up. Doesn't quite succeed. So Lee just 1 away from progressing through to the quarterfinals.
Piece B, we have Rybak and Karachin on your right. Karachin, the higher seeded fencer, so we'll be looking for that defensive action as he is.
Beautiful attempt for Lee there on the fleisch, the flying attack. But Federer was really sharp with his block, with his sword, collecting his opponent's blade. Be 1 behind with 5 to go, but a double in the end, perhaps. Time played against Federer there. Lee progresses through to the quarterfinals.
Scores 1-1 on piece B. Rybak applying a pressure there on Karachin. Karachin towards the back of the piece. Rybak just setting up his attack, but not quite finding a way past him. Searching for the blade there, but it's... We'll have to wait to see. And it was a point for Karachin on the right there. Only yet 9 seconds left.
Well, we saw the relief there on Lee's face. He knew that was a tricky one that he came up against Federer there, but Lee through to the quarterfinals. And now we move on to two fences we haven't seen so far. Babi of Ukraine up against Riga of Germany on the feature piste. Highest seed for this fight is the German, Riga. So if the scores were level at the end of time, it would be the German who would go through.
Just some discretion there on piece B. No point for Rybak, so it's 1:02.3 seconds and it's time's out. We say goodbye to Rybak and welcome Karachin to the top 8, who will be up against James Hume of Great Britain.
Action gets underway on the trailing piste A. Down low, Babi for Ukraine on the left, Miklos Riga for Germany on the right. You'll notice different grips for these two fencers. The German using what's known as a pistol grip, and Babi using the French grip. The French grip is a straight grip, which means that you can hold it a little bit further away from the guard, giving you extra reach. With that, you lose a bit of control. Saying that, Babi has taken control of this match, getting the first point, but that is a beauty under the guard there, under the wrist for Riga to level up. And he is exposing his wrist quite a bit when he goes for those flicks on the top. Danilo Babi. Riga's clearly spotted it, and on the back line he had to go to plan B there and basically do a feint disengage attack. Feint goes to one side, forcing your opponent to move their sword across, and then the disengage is the action that makes you avoid that parry or that block. Beautiful stuff there from Riga. A bit of body movement there to fake distance.
Just on piece B, 2-1 for Kaliminskis. Only 39 seconds left.
Somewhat agricultural there from Danilo Babi. Just going straight after his opponent, direct to target. He tries the same thing again and levels up. Riga caught a bit flat-footed there, caught in two minds as well.
The score is a tie, 3-3, and we have 3-2 on piece D for Kalinskas.
Gets away with a double here on this one, and Babi is the one who's taking the action to Riga. He's primed to go again. Because he knew that time was against him. Riga, the highest seed at 4-4, does progress where he'll face Lee in the quarterfinals.
Really interesting comeback we have here from Savitsky on piece B. He was behind. He is the highest seeded fencer here, but he seems to showing pure experience. Just a playback from those beautiful touches there from Riga. Really reading his opponent. They're under the hand. Beautiful. So we'll just have to get confirmation on what happened there on piece B.
So piece A on the right side.
Looks like Savitsky has gone through.
On the left side, Tashiara.
Like I say, we'll have to wait for confirmation here on the feature piste. Tashiaran of Turkey takes on Mohammed of Egypt. Mohammed, the defending champion, high seeded after the ranking fence yesterday.
He'll definitely be using his World Cup experience here on the junior field. But there we have it, piece B on your top right-hand corner. Hassan on your right, Lavelat on the left. Hassan, the high-ranked fencer, just patiently waiting for Lavelat, who will be needing to build his way up with this direct elimination round.
Yeah, it's a quite tasty lineup, isn't it, that quarter-final? Between two contenders, we think, for the semi-finals. Here, Mutas Mohammed patiently waited for the moment to launch his first attack with just 9 seconds left to go. Tasyaran has to go after Mohammed here because he needs to score 2 points if he wants to progress to the semi-finals of the fence.
So still no touch between Piece B, Lavalat and Hassan. But Lavalat is looking for that gap to get the point. But it's a flash on Hassan and gets that point. Only 19 seconds left.
Meanwhile here, Mohammed has done the job. Tasyaran does get onto the scoreboard, but it's too little, too late. Defending champion wins his first match in the fencing DE through to the quarterfinals.
Another additional point for Hassan. 2-0 with only 9 seconds left. Lava will be looking for that flash, and he does so, but Hassan is on. He's waiting and he gets it. Not quite.
The score is 2-0.
Mohammed here.
Off target.
Sorry, they're a leader. It's always quite tricky, isn't it, with the two-piece going at the same time? I was just about to say one Egyptian's made it through, the defending champion, and his teammate will be looking to progress as well. Coming on to the feature piece, Cornell from Czechia goes up against the higher-seeded Bobrov. One of the neutral athletes in this lineup.
And with the duck, it is now 3-0.
Hassan gets that touch with a beautiful duck on Lavalat's attack. There's just 2 seconds left. Lavalat will be launching himself, just trying, but Hassan just steps back easily, and it's a victory for Hassan.
So the 2 Egyptians through, and we have 2 fights remaining. This one and the last one coming up on... oh, in fact, that one has completed the first one. You're racing ahead on Piece B.
Ika Beavers here we have.
So Savitsky through against Kalaminkas. So this is the last of the quarter-final potential options. Cornell and Bobrov. That's in the top 8 for the winner, and they are being incredibly cagey. No real surprise that the first hit is a double. Both of them using a lot of blade action here.
Yeah. It's quite interesting to see how the opponents push them towards the back of the piece and just waiting for that step forward to attack. But Bobrov is really reading his opponent well.
10 seconds left.
As he did so right there, just waited for Cornell to do that step forward where he gets that disengage and attack. Doubles in favor of Bobrov.
I'm not sure Cornell will get this point. It has been awarded, but I think Bobrov has suggested it was on the floor.
I think he was just wanting to straighten his blade, but it's seconds left and no score for Cornell, just off target there.
The score stays on 4-2 for Bobrov.
I can imagine just adrenaline going through Cornell, just trying to do everything he can just to get the few last points in those 2 seconds. Bobrov just steps back and gets that disengage defend.
Beautiful stuff there from Bobrov. He goes through into the quarterfinals where he'll face the defending champion, and Bobrov is the highest seed. So Mutas Mohammed will have his hands full. We take a look at the final hit here, that beautiful circular cease action, like a washing machine, collecting the blade and then pushing through, knowing that he's safe. With the sword, the point of his opponent's sword way outside his sword arm.
Just really opening the gap there too with a step backwards.
Making the space. We move now just to the feature piece, and our first quarter-final is Lee against Riga. The higher-seeded Lee has a little bit of an advantage here. He can play a patient game, and as we see straight away, Riga on top of him.
Yeah, so interesting to see Riga just towards the right-hand side of the piece and Lee on also on his right-hand side. This is really just opening the gap up there, but it's Riga applying the pressure, but it's Lee who gets that second intention, action, and flesh.
Second intention, setting up a trap. You lay a trap for your opponent to fall into.
So it's one thing setting up an attack, but one thing just responding to how your opponent reacts to your action. And that just comes with experience and muscle memory. But Lee just at the back of the piece goes for the lunge, but it's Riga. Lee responds.
He's trying that really sharp and explosive step lunge attack, and just Riga sharp enough to just step out of the way, and he does have a height and reach advantage. Has to score a hit though, the German. Otherwise, Lee will progress. Lee trying to keep him occupied.
Counterclock action there, core circular 8 action there from Lee. Just getting his opponent there, making the score 1-2. And he's so responsive, and he gets that third touch. Lightning reactions from Lee. Lee not happy with the call there. I think it was just the timing of the hold when it happened, either before or after the hit. But Riga launching himself, but Lee just had to step backwards.
So Lee progresses through to the semi-finals. I think that the interesting thing about him is his parry is very predictable. He's going across to the 4 line and then down into 8 there. And so I wonder if Muqtas Mohammed and the Egyptian camp, as well as Bobrov, who he might face next, are already looking at that and thinking, right, we can do a feint to body. We know what parry's coming and we just go around it.
Yeah, I mean, athletes, so keep in mind they fence against each other in the seeding round. They already have a bit of experience of what to look out for. They spent probably last night thinking, okay, this is the setup I'll be doing against so-and-so. But now it's different because it's 5 points. You have to change it up. But now we have next 2 athletes.
Yeah, it's Hume on the right against Karachin on the left. These 2 at the bottom of the draw. Hume, the number 2 seed after the ranking round. Lefty against righty as well, which can sometimes make for a little bit of a scrappy fight.
Yeah, left hand against right hand. Different types of target spacings we have to do. They're almost working in opposite directions too.
I often hear that righties don't like to fence lefties because there are not so many of them to compete against. But the same goes for lefties. Lefties don't like fencing other lefties as well.
He's just searching for that open parry there where they can get on target. Mixing up between 8 and 6, but time is ticking, only 7 seconds left. Hume with the priority.
And Hume with the hit. Nice little wrap around from set team up into the high line. For those in the know with the vernacular, that's a clockwise movement of your blade down into the low line.
Hume will be looking to just step back as it gets so. Time and take down. Victory for Hume. Very pleased with that.
And a bit of energy conservation there as well. He didn't use up much energy to get through that.
Really smart tactic there from Hume. A bit risky too. I mean, anything could have happened and then you'd have to make a comeback, but just patiently waited for Karachin to make a move and just to defend and get that blade. There you can see the reaction from Hume. Really, really pleased with that.
British athletes train with the British fencers down at the University of Bath in the southwest of Great Britain. So now we have a matchup between Hassan on the right and Savitsky on the left.
Hassan, the highest seeded fencer here. So when he makes a move, tries to get a flick on top, but doesn't quite get it.
We see that pommel on the left for Savitsky, so the extra reach with the straight grip. Hassan with the more commonly used pistol grip. Yeah, you get a good view of his hand. Hold a pistol grip. Your hand is in the shape of a pistol. And this is a very different tactic from his last match from Hassan, who was very patient and waited. On this one, he seems to be keen to get into the lead.
Yeah. Made use of 3 actions to get that final touch there from Hassan, but Hassan is a fencer who really has a wide range of actions, and then a flash attack from Hassan. Correct timing there. Savitsky will need to respond. And a flash attack on preparation from Hassan. Just waiting for Savitsky to do his step forward. Hassan will be waiting again for a surprise attack, probably. But Savitsky just timing, pushing him forward, but it's a point for Hassan, just behind Savitsky.
4-0 for Hassan. 15 seconds left.
Just get the feeling that Savitsky is trying to set up a second intention trap of his own, but isn't following through. And Hassan,
It was on the floor.
like, he saw the opportunities and he took every single one of them to progress to the semi-finals. Or was that hit annulled?
Yeah, Hassan knows he got the floor there. It's great sportsmanship from him, so called it.
Good spot.
10 seconds.
Little casual there from the Egyptian.
It is now 4-1. Less than 7 seconds left. 5.
And it's Savitsky who gets that touch there. Hassan he's changing his tactic up, but I think he'll go for a surprise attack because he just needs one more point, but he's playing it safe and he goes for a double.
Stepped in that time, didn't he, to create the double potential. Good little comeback, though, from Savitsky in the end.
So Hassan will face Hume in the semi-finals.
It's going with seed at the moment in the bottom half of the draw, as it is in the top half of the draw.
On the left side.
Just look at the timing here from Hassan's attacks, just really on his opponent's hand forward or step forward, and that is key for every flash attack or lunge and preparation.
Now, Bobrov here on the right-hand side of the piece has the challenge of the defending junior world champion, Mohammed of Egypt.
Mohammed with a different style compared to Bobrov, a bit more conservative with his hand there. But don't let that deceive you because he's quite responsive with his actions.
Mohammed gets the first point.
That was an interesting little hit, wasn't it?
Mohammed.
39 seconds left.
He's got an incredibly strong hand, doesn't he? Strong forearm as well. He's able to pick up his opponent's blades, seemingly when they're almost on his target.
30 seconds.
Mohammed just keep on moving and not just standing in his place. And he goes for the duck, but it's Bobrov who just gets it before he does. Bobrov just wanting to straighten his blade. The épée blade does tend to bend all sorts of ways when colliding with your opponent.
Guard to tip. He's only allowed a centimetre bend in an épée blade.
Mohammed now applying pressure here. Will he be setting up an attack? Maybe a flash attack. He's searching for the pot, but it's a collision. Bobrov just had his blade to the bottom, couldn't really escape up above.
No touch. It was next to the beast on the floor.
That hit did come up, but it was annulled immediately. Both fencers saying it was on the floor. Just getting clear. Ooh, now, was that on the floor as well? I don't think the first one landed for Mutas Mohammed.
Stays at 1-1.
So if it's on the floor, it should be out on the floor because the piece should be earthed and should not be detecting any hits. Mohammed pushing his opponent towards the piece, but it's a double touch.
These are nervy moments for Mohammed here. He has got the advantage of being the higher seed, sorry, he hasn't got the higher seed. It's Bobrov who's got the higher seed. So, in fact, it is nervy moments for Mohammed. Bobrov looking pretty casual.
Yeah, Mohammed will really need to make an attack here. He'll be launching forward as what we saw yesterday, but Bovrov will be stepping backwards. Mohammed goes for that flash.
Oh, he gets it!
Incredible from Mohammed. Responding under pressure there. Egyptian team is super pleased with that.
What a finish!
Incredible.
And it's not quite finished yet either, but what a finish!
Right, so now we see a great switch up between attacking and defending. Mohammed will just step backwards now as Bovrov leaps forward, but it's victory for Mohammed of Egypt. The adrenaline.
It's incredible, isn't it? I mean, it was 4 and 5, ranked 4 and 5, these two came through the ranking round yesterday. Look at this. I mean, it almost looked impossible, but the patience on the feet coming forwards, even though it's not classic fencing footwork, superb.
Yeah, no, incredible touch there. Lee and Mohammed will be up in the semi-finals. No time to waste for Mohammed as he switches on to the next bout.
Yeah, semi-finals, place in the fencing direct elimination final up for grabs. And we have Mutaz Mohammed here on the left, up against Lee Juchan. Egypt versus Korea. Lee, the higher ranked fencer, 26 victories in the ranking round to 20 for Mohammed.
Really quick footwork from Lee. He will use that to his advantage. As you can see, they're just keeping the distance and opening the gap up. Mohammed responding to his footwork. Lee just making use of feints with that footwork. As you can see, they're just trying to get a response from Mohammed, but it's a double point.
Mohammed trying a bit of body evasion there on the counter-attack. Didn't quite get his body out of the way. But I think Lee, setting himself up on the far side of the piece, is ready for that. Like you said, they've all thought about how they fenced yesterday. They know what to look out for.
All right, so look at Lee's two actions. He's trying to set up an attack and finish with another point, but it's a point for Lee.
Second intention, Lee steps in, calls the attack, lures Mohammed into attacking, and then does a nice parry riposte in defence. Mohammed comes straight back, though, on the attack. A lot of phases to that attack. Came in quick to close the distance, slowed it down a little bit, another little quick step, and then the real attack came. Got to score again, Mohammed.
Mohammed went for the flash there, but it was Lee who responded. Will Mohammed make another comeback? Let's see.
Well, he's done it before. Oh, no, not quite. But how did Lee score that? He did get the hit before he lost his balance, so it will stand.
Just grabbed that point underneath as Mohammed went above, but I think
it's a brilliant hit. Wow, actually,
no point actually.
It's been overturned, so clearly the loss of equilibrium happened before the hit was scored, and now the clock runs down and Lee goes through. Fascinating fight. Couldn't quite do the comeback again, Mohammed, but he's got into the 4 of the fence, and that will give him good points moving on to the next phase.
Well, look, I mean, even having to not make it through to the finals, Mohammed will still be pleased with that result, just being at the top of the log. But let's have a look at the replay.
Ah, yes, the loss of equilibrium was clear to see on the replay there. The back knee going down onto the piste, and at that point, the referee has to call halt. I think she needed to go and have a look at the video there, but that's what it's there for. So on review, great call from the referee. Second semi-final, Egypt feature again with Mahmoud Hassan up against the number 2 seed after the fencing ranking round, James Hume of Great Britain.
So in the previous bouts, Hume just waited patiently for his opponent to attack. You must know that Hassan will be looking for that attack, and he went for the foot, didn't quite get it. Hume towards the back of the piece. Looking for that flesh attack from Hassan.
1-0.
Hume just creating a plan now on how he will respond to Hassan's quick flesh attacks. Hume applying pressure, searching for the low line, but it's Hassan who goes for the flesh, but it's Hume who just gets that remise.
This is ground and now it is 1-1. And Hume has the priority.
Hume using his footwork, drawing his opponent in and out.
30 seconds.
Searching for a response from Hassan. Hassan goes for the foot, doesn't quite get it. And Hassan flashes again, but it's Hume with that remise attack defense.
Yeah, cart circular cart for those in the know, for the left-hander, picking up the blade in a clockwise movement, having to go for the parry twice to get it.
So Hume just using his footwork as a feint to try to get a response from Hassan to do his circular
10 seconds.
action. Try to get the blade again. Gets untidy there, but after a halt, seems as if no point for Hassan.
5 seconds.
So just fixing the scoreboard there.
Gives us a moment just to talk about Hume, because Hume's been very canny with his parries. He's showing cart circular cart. For those who know, it's basically a circular movement, like a windscreen wiper going across a car and then coming around and going over again. That's what cart circular cart is, for those that don't know fencing terminology. But he's switching that up with circular cease, which is basically the parry going the other way, the rotation going anti-clockwise rather than clockwise. So it's confusing Hassan.
It's confusing Hassan, but also trying to find that gap to grab Hassan's blade and to get a clear touch as well. And as you could see, Hume was just playing around with his footwork, just trying to get a response from Hassan too, because he probably saw Hassan on the previous bouts. We saw Hassan with those flesh attacks, and he knows, okay, use that to his advantage, try get a reaction from him. Little chit-chat there in between.
Yeah, it's a welcome relief, isn't it? We actually get to talk a little bit about what these fencers are trying to do.
Be in your screen there, waiting for his final bout, also analysing his next opponent.
I think he thinks that he's going to be facing Hume, because he seems to be down that end of the piste and looking carefully at what the Brit's doing. Oh, unfortunate there for Hume. He got the block in really nicely, but Hassan's so sharp on that remise, as you said earlier on.
Called it, yeah. So Hume really reading his opponent. He knows he's going for the attack. He just needs to step back and look for that blade. Hassan will go for the point, but he calls it. Time is out. Not much left to do in that. Great bout there from the two boys.
Yeah, really good stuff there from both of them. Hume with a variety of blade work and keeping quite a long distance. It's going to be an interesting final. As we take a look back here, Hassan desperately trying to get in.
Looks as if just Hume just looked for that time to just get a straight arm instead of searching for the blade there. All about timing and precision that Hume has aced.
Eyes open type of fencing from the Brit. He's going to have to demonstrate that. He's also had to change the ends of the piste. He's moved from the right to the left as he'll face Li Juchuan in the fencing direct elimination final here, the first of the 5 disciplines in this men's semi-final for the Junior World Championships. So this to bag all the points in the fence. Li Juchuan on the right for Korea up against James Hume of Great Britain on the left.
Lee just using his footwork again, trying to get a response from Hume, but Hume is doing likewise. He scored 26 touches, Hume 22 in the seeding round. And it's a touch for Hume. Once again, just grabbed Lee's blade on that step back, counter attack.
Critical first point for the Brit then. Well, Lee predicted that, didn't he? Did the fleisch, but it was actually second intention from Lee there.
He finished under, didn't he? He went for the high line and just finished under responsively to get that gap there upon Hume.
30 seconds.
Hume applying pressure, pushing the opponent towards the end of the piece. Should be careful for that surprise attack from Lee.
2-1.
So Lee now has turned this one around, and Hume's the one that has the pressure of trying to score points.
20 seconds.
So watch how Hume pushes his opponent towards the back of the piece, really using that piece, but he gets that point as Lee straightens his arm, scores even now.
Yeah, this is a tight one. Top two seeds have made it through to the final. Lee getting 26 victories, 5 clear of Hume in second place in the seeding round.
10 seconds.
He just gets it on the duck as Hume goes for the attack there.
Hume just doesn't seem to have the time to prepare the hit now as the clock counts away. Yep. He's just got to go for it, and it becomes a bit predictable for his opponent.
Lee again, 4-2 now, less than 3 seconds.
Showing his variety there, this time the closing riposte.
And the time is up.
And the top seed does indeed win the fencing DE round here, the first of the disciplines in this men's semi-final A. Lee top of the pile from Hume, and then the two Egyptians. And this is how Lee finished the job. A ducking counter-attack with a bit of a closing blade action for his penultimate hit.
You can see the preparation from Hume as he goes down and tries to go up, but it's Lee who read Hume and just waited for his attack to duck underneath. Really pleased with that. Congratulations to Lee.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from the Korean. He has won the fencing ranking round, sorry, the fencing DE round. This is how the brackets look. Lee coming through the top of the order, having won 26 victories in the ranking round. He came through Federer, Riga, Muhammad, and then the number 2 seed Hume for the win in the fence. And this is how things stand after the fencing D round. Lee remains ahead of Hume, and then those two Egyptians sitting in 3rd and 4th place. Bobrov will be happy with his performance here, but the middle of the pack is where we really need to focus. Danilo Babi, the Ukrainian, ahead of his teammate Oleg Rybak, 9th and 10th. 9 athletes will make it through this. So this is the chasing pack coming from behind, down on 196 points. Tomita Yuusuke of Japan. Well, that is the fence complete. The obstacles are coming next, but before we move on to those, let's take a look back at the fencing DE. Well, brilliant fencing competition here in the men's semi-final A at the Pentathlon Junior World Championships. We move from the piste to something a little different. 70-metre obstacle course ahead of the athletes, 8 different obstacles. This is all about speed. They will go off in pairs, but it's all about getting to the buzzer in the quickest time you can. So the second of the disciplines in men's semi-final A here is the obstacle course, and the course is absolutely fascinating. Let's take a little look at it.
Right, so we have Gergo Broekman, ex-pentathlete of Pentathlon. He's just going for the over, under, and through of the obstacles. The fifth obstacle here, the Ascension bars, as he's just doing a catch and release. Really great technique, as you can see from there. Onto the giant steps. And here we have the seventh one, the swinging globes. One of the most challenging obstacles on the course here, but as you can see, Gergo just nailing it and making it to the finish wall to touch the buzzer and end the clock.
Well, that's pretty spectacular stuff there from Gergo, the former athlete, now stadium announcer. And these are the pairings for the obstacle course. It's a real challenge, those ascending bars. There's a little bit of light relief in the giant steps, and then those swinging globes. And after that, you've got to climb the blooming wall in all this heat. It's really tough for these athletes. Like I say, they will go out in pairs in their ranking order, but it's not a case of beating your opponent. Your opponent can be there as a motivation to keep you going, but you are racing against the clock. Fastest time, most points.
Yeah, I think fastest time and as little penalties as possible. Some of these athletes will just be looking to play it safe, maybe those higher up in the rankings because they're in a good position for the finals, and those lower down will be looking to make risks just to make a fast obstacle time for this semi-final.
And it's fascinating that already you're, as a former athlete, you're saying that they're already thinking about playing it tactically, playing it safe if you've got a good lead. It's already that race for ninth place is coming into play. I talked about the buckets of tactical guile that the athletes require. First two to go out for this obstacle course will be Tomita Yosuke, and he's up against Alessandro Pavellini. Japan versus Italy.
Just a view there of the swinging globes. I must say it has been a bit challenging, but we'll see these athletes just conquer them. And we had a little bit of a look of them practicing on the warm-up round, and it seemed like they were getting the hang of it. Weather is in favour today, not really much water on the obstacles.
Yeah, there was a
little challenging.
Little precipitation in the women's semi-final did cause some of the athletes a problem here, but the challenge for the athletes here down on the track where the obstacle course is that searing heat. They're not going to benefit as much from the wind that's blowing, which is blowing beautifully over the pair of us in this commentary position, keeping us nice and cool. Korean fans out there waiting for Lee Ji-chuan to have his go on the obstacle course. And we are now ready for the first heat in the obstacle in the men's semi-final A.
Okay, so keep an eye out for times around 25, maybe under 30 seconds. We did have Mustafa Abu Amr who clocked a new record of 21 seconds, but yeah, just have a look at those times.
Off we go then.
Oh, skips that tilted ladder with a great lâché technique through the over, under, and through. Pavellini skipping to the third one. Great catch and release, switches up his technique there as he goes to the giant steps. While he skipped the globe, it just slips off there. He'll need to run back, start again. Tomita plays it safe. Goes one by one, then changes his tactic to skip it through, but it's Pavellini who will try clock down.
Well, lost a bit of time with that penalty, but a good, solid run from Tomita, but oh my goodness, Pavellini missing that middle tilting ladder set things up for a stunning time, and then he had the problem with the globes.
Yeah, let's have a quick replay there. So he went for the third globe and just didn't quite get the grip that he needed to swing through the globe. But a great comeback that he had there. And shake of the head from Tomiti, but here we have it.
Second heat, Federer, France. And Gavriloe from Italy.
Great catch and release from the Italian as they make it for the over, under, and through. No time to waste as they go. Switches it up from the skipping to one by one. Jumps for the second globe. Swings it and runs for the finish buzzer. It's under 30 seconds for the Italian. A penalty from Federer. He will have to repeat. Compose himself again.
Yeah, starting these without any momentum is really tricky. That's a unique approach. I've not seen that one before.
Reducing his swing so that he reduces his risk. Not sure of the footing there, but it's unfortunate from Federer, who doesn't quite get the landing, and it will be an elimination for the French athlete.
The Italian was so good on those elevated obstacles. Really, really tasty to watch. Over, under and through. And he was something to look at, and here's the penalty for the Frenchman.
Just missed that landing there. Will eat him up, but it's...
France have another chance here. Diego Lavilla. Frenchman goes up against Czech's Mate Cornell.
Lavillat, OCR specialist. He has no time to waste there. Laches through those tilted ladders. What will he do on the decision bar? He skips the two. Swinging globes. He uses his swing. Makes it, lands the landing, and he goes for the finish roar. It's under 30 seconds. A roar from Lavillat.
Not a bad time either from Cornell, but Lavillat, I mean, he's a master of the obstacle course. He was absolutely magnificent.
Yeah, he really took advantage of his technique on the tilted ladders. Just have a look there. He really just hardly even touched the ladders there. Great catching and release, and it's really just all about the momentum that he drives with his hip and core engaged.
Started the competition down near the bottom of the pile. The obstacle course could make a difference. Now Tasyaran from Turkey and Kalaminskas from Lithuania.
Kalaminskas skips that second tilted ladder. He's going through over, under, and through. Decision bars, he nails as he goes through the giant steps. What will he do on the swinging globes? He uses less swinging here for the finish roar, and he touches around 25 seconds. Best time of today. Tasyaran clocking around 34 seconds.
Well, Kalaminska there was absolutely phenomenal. He's just showing off because he knows the Senior World Championships is taking place in his country later on in the year. But look at that. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable skills from Lithuania.
Yeah. Great work from Kalaminskas as he just nails that technique on the tilted ladders.
A couple of Ukrainians up next, Rybak and Babi.
Onto the tilted ladders. Losing some momentum there, but we'll have to build up the drive with their swing back over and under through. Skipping the decision bar, changes it up using the touch and go.
Rybak in control at the moment. But Babi coming up and catching him. If he can keep his momentum. Great time from Rybak, 33 seconds.
Just having a look at the hand there, the obstacles is quite difficult and challenging with the hands, and it does cause a bit of blistering. But let's have a look back at the decision bars where he just grabs and releases himself there. Swinging globes, great technique.
Well, they're ready for heat number 6. Miklos Riga of Germany against the neutral athlete Kirill Karachin. Riga in red.
Big wheel onto the tilted ladders. Riga just going one by one. Oh, he just misses it there. He's going to...
Oh, he's stuck.
Swings onto it. Great work there from Riga. Just slips over. Riga will need to compose himself as he does so brilliantly. Makes his way through to the swinging globes. Skips that first one. Goes by globe, skipping technique. And he'll need to dig deep for this finish wall.
Well, they were pretty close in the end, but what a recovery, what resolve from Riga. He nearly came off the tilted ladders early doors and then struggled through the over, under and through.
Yeah, I mean, great composure there from Riga. He did have a slip up, but he tried everything not to have to make a fault there. I think just like mid-obstacles, everything that's going through your mind, the adrenaline, everything, just to be able to compose yourself as he did so brilliant from Riga.
Now it's Savitsky and Bobrov, both neutral athletes.
Big wheels onto the tilted ladder, catch and release as they swing back to the over, under and through. Skipping this to the third decision bar. Wow, from Bobrov as he goes to the giant steps. He skips that first swinging globe, uses a swing back, makes use of his longer limbs, lands, and it's under 30 seconds from Bobrov.
Oh, just making it over the top, Savitsky. It's a real challenge, that final wall, after the two elevated obstacles, punctuated by those big steps.
And now, heat number 8.
Look at the strength generated.
Yeah. Keep an eye on that technique on the tilted ladders, that catch and release, that it just separates the great to the good athletes. Here we have it, the two Egyptians, neck and neck.
Mohammed and Hassan, reigning champion on the far side. Hassan getting the better start here, though.
Flying through the over, under and through. Let's see what he does on the decision bars as he swings. Oh, no time to waste for Hassan. Makes his way to the swinging globes. Makes use of that twisting of his body. He digs deep for the finish wall. Will it be the fastest time? But it's just 27 seconds. 28 seconds from Hassan and 31 from Mohammed. Great teamwork there from the two of them. They'll be pleased with that.
Well, that could have an effect on the rankings at the end of this obstacle course. Second of the 5 disciplines. Look at his technique, the younger Egyptian.
It looks so easy.
Yeah, effortless, like he's in a playground. Incredible stuff. One more heat to go. The leading athletes after the fence. James Hume of Great Britain takes on Lee Jujuan as we see the Egyptians celebrate their 8th heat. Heat number 9, the last of the obstacles in this men's semi-final.
Right, these two will be looking to play it safe and just get through without any penalties as they clear those tilted ladders over, under and through. They are neck and neck, almost in sync with each other. Lee goes for the second group, but it's Hume who flies through the decision bars there. He skips to the second swinging globe. Doesn't make use of too much swing as he sticks the landing. It'll be under 30 seconds for Hume, and Lee, who just clocks it on 30 seconds. They'll be pleased with that.
Absolutely. He called it early on that they were going to be conservative, but it felt to me like Hume saved himself for those raised obstacles, the elevated obstacles, and Lee just happy to get over the line without any penalties. A good time from him as well. Yep. But where Hume really got ahead in this was in those elevated obstacles. He actually fell behind at this point. And as soon as he had to do everything above his head, this was where his mastery of the obstacle course came in. The Brit
Look at that grip strength from Hume. I mean, it's not that easy to stick. Grip strength with a combination of sticking those landings, and we'll definitely see with the men compared to the females, they really going for those riskier moves, and as we could see the boys skipping those tilted ladders, but here we go.
Well, this is how things stand after the obstacle course. We've had the fence and the obstacles, and Lee still up the top, leading Hume. They did enough, but Hassan has jumped up a place into third position. Bobrov doing really well as well, the fastest time. Hassan has dropped 2 points, but Kalaminskas has come up by 6 places. What a move from him, and what a move from Lavelat. Alida, you called Lavelat as the one to watch out for coming from behind, and he's already up 6 places after the obstacles. It's Agavrioli of Italy on the bubble, and he's climbed 7 places himself. So looking to advance. This is the chasing pack. The chasing pack includes another Italian, Pavolini, who's climbed 2, but he's starting to fall away. Federer of France has dropped down 3 places to the bottom of the pile. That's the obstacle course done. Coming up next is the swim. But before we get to that, let's take a look back at that brilliant obstacle course race. Fantastic obstacle course here at these Pentathlon Junior World Championships. We are done and dusted with that. We now move from the obstacle to discipline number 3, the swimming pool. 200-meter freestyle swim and a 50-meter pool, so 4 laps. Oh, and here we are. We are a couple of kilometers away here at the swimming pool. So the athletes have a little journey to go on from the main stadium to the swimming pool, and fortunately we have a little point of view of what the athletes go through here. So they'll leave the stadium in this multi-sport complex and jump into air-conditioned vans for a quick hop across the city. They're left at the end of this road, about 2 kilometers away. And then they arrive at the pool. It's a pretty quick transition given the fact that 18 athletes, a bunch of officials, the trailing pack of coaches and support staff also have to trek over to this brilliant swimming pool. 50-meter pool as well. Sometimes in pentathlon you'll see a 25-meter pool. You should get super fast times in 25-meter pools because of the additional turns. But in the 50-meter pool, it's just 4 laps, and we've managed to grab a moment with the British athlete currently in 2nd place, James Hume from Great Britain.
Hi, my name is James Hume. I'm a modern pentathlete competing for Great Britain. The transition's only 5 minutes after the OCR, so it's quite a tight turnaround. But for me, I just do a lot of band work and get my shoulders engaged, ready for the swim. OCR does help that, but getting more band work in there to help my pull and my catch in the swimming pool is good. You're not allowed in the swim post-OCR, so you can't do any swim warm-up, so it's all doing it on land, so it's quite tough, but you get it done. I manage the OCR by a lot of visualization, purely because the OCR, there's a lot of points and there's a lot of pressure for it, because it's a new discipline. The confidence is a bit lower than the other disciplines, so just doing a lot of visualization before I do the race is optimal for me, so that's what I do. I think the main thing for me is staying present, so actually just focusing on the first, like the one discipline at a time and taking it each discipline at a time, whether that's in the laser run, like running and then just focusing on the shoot, but like especially for the OCR, if you think about anything else, you're probably more likely to fall off, so just focusing on that OCR discipline is pretty key. But yeah, just staying present in the moment and just not thinking about the future. That's what I try and do anyway. Personally, I like to go a bit easier in the swim so I can run a bit harder, purely because of the points in the swim isn't as much as it would be in the run. So, like, saving my energy after in the last 100 metres of the swim is probably what I do most. Why do I like modern pentathlon? Because if I just did one sport, I think I'd be quite bored. So doing all 5 sports is quite fun and it's interesting.
A jolly nice chap. But I have to say, James Hume, you're telling everybody all your tactics. He was brutally honest, wasn't he?
But I mean, he's really nailed down everything about modern pentathlon, and especially how it is have evolved and how he's adapting to the obstacles, the change from horse riding, and also just the whole 90-minute format. He's really touched on really important points there, given the warm-up time that athletes have. So athletes only have an hour general warm-up, so that's the only time they can actually get a feel of the pool if they really wanted to, but some don't even do that. So like what James does, for example, and what I think a few athletes make use of is band work, just to sort of, they tie a band, say now, against a pole, having a grip there, just to activate the muscles for the start of the swimming.
Sorry to interrupt you, because I'm sitting here going, oh, wow, that's tell me more. But you talk about band work. These are the sort of elastic stretching bands, and that's what helps. They get additional, as the band
a resistance
stretches.
band.
Yes.
Yeah. So definitely great stuff there from James, and really just touching on how to adjust for the transition between the different obstacles and different disciplines. And I mean, it's all about staying present. I mean, it doesn't help you keep focusing on your result that you did in the fencing and not moving on to the obstacles. And I mean, just think about if you had a bad fence, no point in having a dull mood about it. You just have to put it behind you and go on for what's next.
Yeah, easier said than done.
Oh, definitely.
But it was really key that point he made, that if you think about something else in the OCR obstacle course run for a race, for those that don't know the acronym, you're more likely to fall off and get a penalty, and that's got the
it's a
hallmark,
make or break.
Well, it's got the hallmarks of a sports psychologist saying, you're more likely to fall off. Let's keep it dead simple. Think about this and this only. But fascinating. And he's up in number 2 position after the fence and the obstacle course, with the swim and laser run to come. And it's the reigning world champion that we need to focus on as well, because he's dropped away a little bit, and that's Mutaz Mohammed. And I think we've also managed to have a little chat with him as well.
Hello, I'm Mutaz Mohammed. I'm Egyptian modern pentathlete. I am a junior world champion and a couple World Cup medalist. So hello. I think most probably I'll be focused how I will do in the pool, to organize my brain to, I organize the 200 meter how I will do it. I think it's something good to go to swimming after OCR, because it's, refreshing. And after that, we go to the laser run. So, of course, the mental health or the visualizing the competition, it's a huge part. My family and my coach are my mental coaches, So if you are not good physically, mentally can help you. If you are not good mentally, I don't think physically you will manage to do great. So as a modern pentathlete, you have to focus at one discipline at a time. So I will probably be focusing on how I will do great swim with saving a lot of energy, because laser run take a lot of energy and a lot of my focus. So I'm trying to save energy as swimming. So.
Gotta say, I can't imagine any part of the modern pentathlon to be refreshing. And that stuck in my mind. And he said, it's refreshing after doing the obstacle course to jump in a swimming pool. Well, yeah, if you're just jumping in a swimming pool, but they've got to swim 200 meters.
Well, yeah, I mean, keep in mind, they had the fencing suits, so that's also quite sweaty. And then having to go to the obstacles in the sun, I think It's refreshing. I'll give him that. I'll really give him that. And I mean, given the boys had to compete in 40 degrees on qualifications day, they're really blessed with a breeze here today. So, yeah, but a really interesting interview there from Mu'taz Mohammed, and also just focusing on being present as a modern pentathlete and taking one obstacle at a time. And it's really just, these just life lessons that we're taking here from pentathlon. And it's just one challenge at a time, one hurdle at a time.
Yeah, I mean, it is a running theme. Hume and Mohammed Mu'taz saying that staying in the moment, staying focused on what is ahead of you, or what you're in at the moment, rather than what's ahead of you or what's behind you, is the key forward. I quite like that. Life lessons being learnt from pentathletes. Of course, you would say that as a former pentathlete. And if you're just joining us, it's Alida van der Merwe, the African Championships silver medalist and Youth Olympic Games finalist, sitting in the expert hot seat and absolutely slamming it, I have to say, Alida. The pool is ready, and I think we're not too far away from the athletes being ready. Based on what we saw in the women's semi-final, it does take around about 17, 18 minutes, not just for the transition, but for the athletes to get into the call room for the heats that are coming up. We've got 3 heats of 6 athletes ahead of us, and they are broken up into these heats. The fastest swimmers may not put down their fastest times, depending where they are after the obstacle course. So again, we need to be looking at the middle order of the pack, and as we heard Mu'taz saying, he likes to take it a little bit easy. He's dropped a couple of places. Will he feel in any danger at the moment, having dropped a couple of places? He's sitting in 5th at the moment.
I mean, we know Mu'taz Mohammed to have an excellent laser run, and he won't be using all his energy in his laser run today. I mean, he will be looking for a gold medal finish in the final. So I don't think he'll necessarily be in any potential danger or at risk at the position he's in right now. But yeah, I think athletes higher up in the ranking, they will be conserving some of the energy. I mean, keep in mind, they've also competed in the qualifications. If they're looking to qualify for the finals, they will also be looking for that just last bit of energy. I mean, men are competing tomorrow for the finals. So unlike the women who had their semis yesterday, they have at least a day in between. So it's really just all about that energy conservation that athletes will be looking for. But with that said, athletes lower down in the ranking, they'll be looking to push for a faster swimming time to try qualify for the finals. So
yeah, it's interesting. We'll go back to that buckets of guile statement. You've now really got to be thinking about where you're sitting, how you think you can do in the laser run in these hot conditions, and you start looking down past 9. You think 9 will still be thinking, even if I drop a couple of places in the swim, I'm confident enough in my laser run. But those are down at the bottom of the pack really do need to have a good swim. Yeah.
And it's just, like I said, self-awareness as a pentathlete. You've got to know where your strengths lie. I mean, we saw yesterday with the women, we had Martinescu of Italy, who used swimming as her superpower to gain her way back into that top 9 bracket.
And it worked.
It really worked. So it really just depends on where your strengths lie and how you use it.
The pool nice and still at the moment.
Calm before the storm.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll be making waves here soon.
Very good.
Great. Interesting to see. We had a swimming world record broken actually in the qualifications from the Italian swimmer Matteo Baventi. Unfortunately did not make it through to the semi-finals, but a fast time of 1:53, one of the fastest times since 2011, since James Cook, which was a 1:53 but with split seconds. He had broken it.
Some great knowledge there. Leader fountain of knowledge of pentathlon, as it looks like we are just about ready for the first heat of the swim. 3 heats to come here, and here is the start list for heat 1. Babi of Ukraine going in lane 1, Tasyaran and Pavolini in the middle. Federer on the other side. Just inside them, Cornell in 2 and Tomita of Japan in 5. So 6 athletes ready to take to the pool. Fastest swimmer here, another Italian, like Martinescu in the women's semi-finals yesterday. Alessandro Pavlini swam a 2:09.54 in qualification, and out they come. Impressive to get these athletes from the main stadium out to the pool, 2 kilometres away, and out to the swim in under 20 minutes. Well done to the local organising committee team who achieved this seemingly impossible task.
Right, so it's 200 meters. Athletes will be looking to make use of the start with an explosive dive in underwater with a breakthrough.
Well, closest to us, Babi of Ukraine, then Cornell, Tasyanan, Pavlini, Tomita and Federer, and they are underway.
First 50 is all about setting the pace, not going out too strong, but also not too slow. Tomita in your screen there, but it looks as if Federer there to the top of the screen is setting the first 50 there. We don't quite have the graphics and the timings of this 200 meter. But it's Babi of Ukraine who's just keeping up with Federer. You'll see a lot of these athletes just looking towards each other, left and right, trying to keep pace, as these first 3 athletes are doing towards the top of your screen there. Federer, Tomita and Pavlini. Not too far behind, we have Babi who's just keeping up with that first group. This third 50 is where it gets tough. Athletes will have to dig deep, keeping their kicking in control. Trying not to make the strokes too short and just keep it lengthened out as the Italian is doing so. He'll be making his way for his last 50. Great quick turn, not much time for an underwater, but he's making waves there, putting in a good kick for his last 50 of this 200 meter, dragging the lead now in front of Federer.
Pavlini currently sitting 16th of the 18 athletes. Federer down at the bottom, so they absolutely need a good swim and a good swim time.
Last few meters for Pavlini as he finishes first in this heat 1, and not far behind him Federer with Tomita.
Yeah, Babi there coming through in lane 1. Sitting down in 13th place, and I wonder how that swim time is going to correspond to the other 2 heats. It's difficult to really measure everything up until we've been through the 3 heats. It's all about racing against the clock.
Just some highlights there. This 200 meters, all about making use of the dive underwater, and as well as just doing a good style and stroke correction. It's amazing how much time you can take off just having the correct style, and just also energy conservation too.
Easy for you to say. Yeah, and that's what the key is, isn't it? This conservation of energy and knowing how much you need to put down in the pool ahead of the laser run. First 6 have gone through. And we will update you on times as soon as we can. This is the second heat, and Lavilat, the leader's pick of the chasers, going in lane 1. Savitsky, who was pretty good on the obstacles, goes in 2. Gavrioli in 3. Riga of Germany in lane 4, and then it'll be Rybak of Ukraine in 5, and Karachin in 6. He's the furthest athlete away from our picture right now.
Keep an eye out for Agavriloui of Italy with the fastest seeded swim time. Agavriloui is sitting on 9th position, so he'll be looking to be comfortable going into the laser run. Level up just in your screen there.
So we're up and ready to go in swim heat number 2. Well, just as they start to get underway here, I can let you know that Pavolini set a time of 2:08.59 in the first heat. Third row behind her, 2:10.40. Tomita with 2:13.19. The rest a handful of seconds behind.
Level up to the bottom of your screen there. We'll be turning first on this first 50 around just under 30 seconds unofficially. Setting pace here. Looking to the right, trying to pace themselves with Agavriloui. Agavriloui also looking to these left there, pacing himself with Lavalat. These two are eye and eye. Further up to your screen looks like Rybak of Ukraine, who will be turning on that 100 meter with the two athletes.
Great
from
second
Italy.
50, wasn't it, from him? The Italians are so hot in the pool, aren't they?
Rybak really firing away in this third 50. As you can just see, look at his kicking there, but Agavriloui setting the engine on fire here too, as they will be turning neck and neck. These three first athletes. Lavalat looking to his right, trying to keep up with the Italian.
Italian on the bubble and sitting in 9th place coming into the swim.
Rybak just reaching with that right arm there as he's doing a great underwater pull. He's finishing strong. It will be a fast time for Rybak of Ukraine.
Well, the first 3 in, and they put a bit of a marker down here, but have they spent too much energy in pursuit of the top 9 spots here? Heat number 2 complete here in the pool, and it is Oleg Rybak of Ukraine who's taken it in the fastest time we think so far, sitting in 11th coming into the swim. He's looking to climb ahead of the laser run.
Yeah, I think it's also just a thing of trying to hold yourself back too in the swim. I think as an athlete, you always want to do your best, so it's hard to tell yourself to slow down and not clock a PB. So, I mean, even with these first 3 athletes here, Rybak, Agavriloui and Lavalat, they were just trying, it was almost like a little mini competition they had against each other and just trying to keep themselves. But you can see just towards the end, these 2 athletes just slow themselves down, knowing what's up next for the laser run.
I think you hit the nail on the head. They just pulled up back a little bit because they felt they'd done enough. They knew the time was good enough. So we go to the final heat featuring the leading athletes, Lee Hume, Hassan, Bobrov, Mohammed and Kala Minskas. It's a really fascinating middle pack at the moment. Kala Minskas has already done enough to perhaps make himself feel a little safer going into the laser run. The athlete's getting called out in the pool here. Kalaminskas, who will be going in lane number 6 furthest from us, has climbed right up the rankings into the top 6, so it's an advance of 6 places. What a run from the Lithuanian.
He's just drying off the starting blocks there for an explosive start they'll be looking for.
Start of heat number 3, the final heat in this men's Pentathlon Junior World Championships semi-final A. 18 athletes competing for 9 places in the final, which comes up tomorrow.
First 50, just setting the pace there, setting the rhythm for those 200 meters. Looks like Mohammed out in front there, turning first on that first 50. This first 100 meters of the 200 is all about getting enough oxygen for the legs for the last 100 of the 200. But it looks like Mohammed there in your screen, not far behind him.
Just going for his refreshing swim. He seemed to be setting a pretty decent pace here as well. They're pretty tight, the front 4, turning almost in synchrony. Lanes 1 and 3, that's Lee and Hassan, just sitting, what, 3 meters back, 4 meters back.
Yeah, he's really just pacing himself there, not really giving everything he has in the tank. Kalaminskas in your screen there, putting his head down, not taking too many breaths. And James just towards the bottom of your screen there, pacing himself with Kalaminskas, but it's James who's turning first on that last 50 to go.
James setting himself up here for a decent position at the start of the laser run. 1 pentathlon points build over these first 3 disciplines. Every point you're ahead of the person behind you is a second advantage at the start of the laser run. It's a hot race, this one, isn't it? Kalaminskas of Lithuania seems like he's just about taken the lead. Well, dead on for the pair of them, Hume and Kalaminskas, coming through the heats 1 and 2. Of course, not about winning the heat, it's about the time and how that matches up against the other 12 athletes that have already had the swim. Great swim from the Lithuanian. Didn't have the best of fences, but after 3 disciplines of the semi-final, the Lithuanian has motored his way up into the top echelons of this semi-final, going into the laser run.
Just a playback there of this 200 meter in the last heat of the men's semi-finals. Humes there in your screen with the tumble turn and great underwater. Sort of is the whole heat just slowed down towards the end, because I mean there's nothing really to lose here, and then just all about energy conservation. But given that,
well, we get the 18 athletes going out, and after the swim it's Hume that's moved up into top position. He's overtaken Lee. Mohammed stayed in 5th position.
just take a look at the gap there that we will have the athletes going to the laser run, just seconds apart. So we'll have more of a group.
Mass start, yeah. Ryback climbing 4 places. What a run from him, and a good swim from Agiv Lowy in 9th place. He's on the bubble ahead of Karachin and Savitsky, as the points they're still pretty tight in that group of 6. Just, 23 points. A bit of a drop from 9th to 10th, so that's where we'll be focused in the laser run. Can any of these bottom 6 athletes put on a show in the laser run and make it into the top 9? That is coming next. But before we transition back to the main stadium, let's take a look back at the swim. 3 of the 5 disciplines complete. The swim done and dusted for the 18 athletes in this first men's semi-final. We move from the pool to the last 2 disciplines, combined run and shoot. Athletes will run 600 metres around the track, and when they come over the start-finish line, they'll then enter the range for the first time. They need to hit the target 5 times before they're allowed to leave the range, and this is where we are going to be focused on the overtakes. They will do 3 further laps with 3 further visits to the range before a final lap and a race to the line. The job of the athletes here, 18 of them, is to get over that line in the top 9, and that will offer them a place in the final here at the Pentathlon Junior World Championships. Coming up very shortly, the laser run to conclude this first semi-final. Fascinating display so far from the athletes. One more combined discipline to go, and this is a look at what the athletes will face ahead of them.
Yes, so this is a POV taken from the GB athlete Poppy Clark. What you see as she enters the range there, goes for her shooting series, misses the one, but just gets the next 5 green lights that she needs. And keep in mind, laser run can change so much with the shooting, shuffle of standing, so really set for an exciting race there. But as you can see, there's a change between the tartan track and the grass field. You'll see some athletes will be opting to make use of spikes just for more of that grip.
And we'll be looking down the straights for the lines the athletes are taking to approach these bends as well. And they do run through a cooling station, which I think is coming up just now. This little arch over the top of the track, they run through that, and they get a lovely, refreshing spray of cold water, much needed.
It's quite a spoil, if I can say.
Well, you can dash over there quickly now yourself, leader. It's not far.
But yeah, no, really, also just take note of all the straights and the turns that this course makes use of. This is where athletes will finish their lap. So, fortunate enough, the last few meters is on sort of a long curve and straight, so there will be a lot of takeovers there.
Well, when we hear that thing ring, we'll know that the leader is going into their final lap. They'll have one more visit to the range, and then they'll complete the last 600 meters. Well, the defending champion, Mutaz Muhammad, has dropped a little bit down the rankings from where he started, but he's certainly in a good position going into the laser run. We've got another chance to chat with him a little earlier.
Hello, I am Mutaz Muhammad. I am Egyptian modern pentathlete. I am a junior world champion and a couple World Cup medalists. So the transition between swimming and laser run, after the new format, we don't have a lot of time, so we shouldn't move very fast. We actually train in Egypt to do like swimming, and like 5 minutes we have to be in the running course. So we will adapt for this situation to train after swimming, after hard swim. The weather here is very hot. I think as an Egyptian we are adapt to a situation like this because it's very hot also in Egypt. I think we have an advantage above any other athlete, but it's still hot for us, you know. My mindset for any race, of course, I get like a little bit of worry, but you know, sometimes I look at myself, what I have achieved, how much I trained for this moment. So I get a lot of mixed feeling, but at the end, before the race starts, like 10, 9, 6, 7, 8, I feel encouraged. I think I feel I'm ready for this moment, and then thinking about what I will do in the race.
Interesting. It feels they've got a little advantage because of where they're based, and of course Egypt is the next stop on the tour as well. The World Cup final taking place in Alexandria And some of these athletes will be hot-footing it straight from here to Alexandria, including Mutaz Mohammed.
Yeah, I mean, Mohammed is also one of the talks of those top athletes in modern pentathlon at the moment. I mean, he just picked up the gold medal at the World Cup in Budapest. He is the reigning junior world champion. And I tell you, he's got a laser run finish to watch. But he won't necessarily be using that today. But just really interesting what he talks about with the whole training that he does for the whole combination of the pentathlon disciplines, and just about a simulation of competition day, which is really essential, and just making sure that you have that experience of what your body demands, doing all the disciplines right after each other. And I think that is really important aspect that pentathletes have to train for.
Yeah, it certainly is, and doing that simulation is incredible. We had a quick look at the chasing pack down in 17th and 18th. We saw Tomita of Japan and Federer of France. So they'll have to make some big moves, especially Federer. He's in normal conditions, he'll be 6 minutes 38 seconds behind the leading athlete. So I think he's way out of it here. We do have a situation where we do have to pay a little bit of attention to the times that the athletes finish here, because unlike the final, where the athlete who crosses the line first wins the world title, if there is a big gap, a big handicap from the chasing pack, they all mass start at 1 minute 30 seconds behind the leading athlete. Probably we don't have to worry about that in this semi-final. There's not a big enough gap, right?
No, not at all. I mean, we have a look at the start list, and it seems as if Hume will be starting up first with a 3-second head start, followed by Lee of Korea, and athletes just going afterwards will just be seconds apart. So it's not really the case in this semi-final, but it's a 20-second gap between the 9th and the 10th place, which is Agrilowi of Italy and Karachin who's a neutral athlete. So it's a different type of semi-final that we've had for the women's, where it was a bit of a closer gap between the 9th position. So it will be Karachin will be keeping eyes on the Italian to try and qualify for that spot, because today is all about qualifying for the Super Sunday finals.
Well, they're just having their little warm-up in the range. Hassan just going through the paces, getting his pace in there. There is the leader. He'll start first, James Hume. And while we're on a British athlete, as Poppy Clark went through the point of view, taking us around the track, the video that we saw, I kind of sort of want to apologise to her, because I said she was 16 years old yesterday when she was competing, and she's 21. I'll tell you what, I'd take 5 years off my age any day of the week. I suppose she's a little bit younger than me. James Hume, though, has taken the lead after the swim, and we had a chance to talk to him.
Hi, my name's James Hume. I'm a modern pentathlete from Great Britain. The transition is only 10 minutes long. It's shortened since last season, so it's a lot more difficult. But what I would do is I get changed as quick as I can, get a gel down me, and I'll try and jog from the swimming pool to the laser run venue, where all my stuff will be. I'll then keep on jogging, and then I will do probably one target, and just clear as much lactate as possible after that, and then get on the start line. We do a lot of training for transitions in Bath, where I train, so it's quite good, but also I would mentally prepare when I'm doing the jog, so I don't need to do too much shooting warm-up. Yeah, I checked the weather, but it didn't help too much. But yeah, no, you can manage it, I guess, a bit by cooling down and putting ice on you as much as possible, cooling your vest off before you run, but it's still tough. It's too hot for us. In Bath, it's a lot cooler than this. It's been hot recently in Bath, but not this hot, so it's tough.
Right, I hope he's still not jogging.
He can't have jogged the 2 kilometres back from the pool here. I think he's talking about in a regular setup where the pool's just around the corner.
He is really right about that. I mean, the transition from swimming to laser running, you just got to get that lactic out, and then all you can do is from doing a little bit of jogs in between, maybe a few sprints.
And clearing his head, he was talking about that helps him clear his head and get ready for what's ahead of him. But he's going to lead the pack out here, so he is going to be in control up front. And I think if you look back, he's nearly a minute ahead of 10th place coming out, and he's probably going to be pretty happy. Li Chuan, I should say, is going out in 2nd place, 3 seconds behind James Hume, and he will feel that he's pretty comfortable. The swim from Gavriloi from Italy has put him on the bubble. He's moved up into 9th place, and so he's just going through his last practice on the range, and right next to him, Karachin in 10th position, going out 17 seconds after him, and that's where we are going to be focused throughout the race, on 9th, 10th place, and that hunt for the last place in the final. Interesting to see the Italian just rehearsing, going into his first shot with the heart pumping. Some of these athletes coming around the last 20 metres into the range will actually take some big, deep breaths and blow out to try and already reduce their heart rate as they're coming in. Are you impressed that I knew that?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're speaking like a true laser run athlete here. But yeah, no, you're definitely right with that. Breathing is such an important thing when it comes to shooting, whether it is either holding your breath there or just letting that breath out before you go into that shooting series. It's different from athlete to athlete, but just controlling, going from the speedy feet to the calm hands, we like to say.
Like it. Well, here is the starting lineup with the handicap timing. So Hume going out 3 seconds ahead of Lee. Pretty tight there at the front. Hassan 12 back from that. 14 seconds for Bobrov. And you can see that clutch of 4, 5 and 6 are going to go out pretty close to each other. The middle of the order is where we are going to be focused on the action. Those gaps, 7, 8, 9, really tight between those lot. They all go out together, and then the slight drop away for 10, 11, 12. So those chasing will be the ones we need to look out for. Can Riga, can Tasjaran, can they get into the mix? They're going to have a good shoot, certainly in the first visit to the range, to give themselves a chance. And the range really is a place that we are going to have a lot of focus on.
We see Farida Khalil's father and family here. Farida Khalil also standing in the podium there, just having a look at the men's semi-final before she will be on our final tomorrow. Yeah,
staying in the shade though, under the sun, despite the Egyptians perhaps being a little bit more used to these conditions. They are conscious of trying to maintain their hydration.
So here we have athletes just checking their starting time. We will have a staggered start, meaning athletes will go off at certain times according to their current standings. James Hume, in your screen there, will only have a 3-second head start. It is a bit of pressure to carry with not so much time behind you, so you will be you'll keep in mind that there's someone just right behind him. So it is a bit of pressure to hold, but
it's going to be interesting though, isn't it? Because perhaps that group of 2 or 3 athletes at the start will run together and sort of just keep each other going and not worry too much. And it's interesting to see that Hume was having a friendly conversation with Hassan. You know, are they talking to each other at this point? Are they saying, right guys, let's stick together, let's keep each other up the front? Lee there looking pretty serious. He's not engaging in conversation. Hume with the 2 Egyptians though, all feeling pretty comfortable. Sun beating down on them. It's a little before 10 to 3 local time here in Székesfehérvár, around 100 clicks away from Budapest, and we are about to get underway. Top 9 for a place in the final.
Thank you very much.
James Humes of Great Britain gets the laser run underway, the last of the 2 disciplines of this semi-final in the men's competition. Semi-final number 1. And the 2 Egyptians are out, up and running. And now we'll see the number 9 come out. Now there's a 17-second gap behind Gavriloui of Italy before number 10 comes out of the blocks.
Athletes will be going for their first lap. We like to call this the formation lap, where they'd be just setting the pace before going into the shooting range. A lot of visualization that they'll be doing in this lap before entering.
Well, there is the man chasing down 9th place. And I tell you what, you might well be able to hear it on our microphones around the course. The wind has just started to pick up a little bit. And I think the athletes might be quite pleased about that.
Definitely. I mean, especially coming from having a 40 degrees weather on the qualifications day. But here we have Lavelat and Gavriloui of Italy neck and neck, and they're just pacing each other here, holding 8th and 9th position.
Trailing there in 9th place, Gavriloui of Italy. He's holding around about an 80-metre lead over 10th place behind him. And at the moment, Karachin not pressing too hard. They want to get through the first visit to the range before they see how much harder they have to push. And the group at the front has tightened right up as well. We've got 3 together, shortly followed by 4 and 5. They visit the range for the first time.
We have our leaders just going for their first shooting series. First 4 of them neck and neck, and it's Hume with the green light. Hassan and Mataz are struggling with the green lights here. But it seems as if Lee's almost about to get out of the range. He's got 4 green lights. James with 4 green lights, and it's James, Muataz, and Hassan out of the range. Lee just behind him. Bovrov and Kalaminska.
Well, these are the 7, 8, and 9 athletes in the range, and coming to join them in 10th place, Karachin moves into position, and this is the accuracy graphic in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Gavriloui getting his 5th point there. It took him quite a few shots, but he has maintained his 9th place, and now in the range, struggling, it's Karachin. He's still got 1 more to go before he gets out, and it's this pack he's going to have to chase down. And Karachin finally makes it out of the range, but I think he's lost out there by around about 10 meters.
Tasyaran of Turkey, who's started off in 14th position, is now in 10th position. He is now on the chasing pack for that 9th spot. As you can see, the Italian Gavriloui just keeping hold there, and not far behind him is Lavelat. But Lavelat should just be careful with Tasyaran, who's catching up from behind from Turkey. Still quite a gap that they have for 9th position, but the race is still on.
Yeah, 7th and 8th, got a little gap ahead of number 9, Lavelat from France. And say, a leader, he's going to be looking out for the red cap of Tasyarin of Turkey, chasing him down.
Lavelat just holding on to that 9th position. And we have the leading pack making their way to their 2nd shooting series. Hassan, Mohammed, and Hume. Hume with the first green light. Mohammed with the 2nd green light. It is Mohammed who's shooting, who's going to get him out of the shooting range first. It is Mohammed of Egypt who is out first in the shooting range. Lee is with 5 green lights. Hume is off in 3rd position, and not behind him is Hassan and Kalaminska.
Well, we're in the range now, under 10 seconds for Mohammed, and he's opened up a little lead, and Lee's jumped in the 2nd shoot. But it's this race for 9th place. Ryback comes out of the range doing really, really well. And Lavilat struggling with the shoot.
Gavriloli now comfortably in 9th position. It is still the fight for the top 9. And it's Lavilat with the 5 green lights. He's now in...
Yeah.
Still 9th position there.
Yeah, he is in 9th position, and Tasyanin from Turkey in the range still with 1 to go, and in fact Babi has overtaken him. Karachin has overtaken him as well. Tasyanin just struggling a little bit at the 2nd visit to the range. Karachin now chasing from 10th position, hunting this time now Lavilat, as Gavriloi of Italy has put himself just a little bit safer in 8th position.
Tasyaran, who is trying to catch up to Karachin, but it's Karachin who's now got his eyes on to Lavilat. Here we just have the graphics of Lavilat and Karachin. Karachin with the fastest running lap there, but it was Lavilat's shooting that got him the benefit of the doubt. Lavilat still holding on to that 9th position.
Coming around the beginning of the top bend, and Karachin is fighting. You just see him in the distance there. He is fighting hard on this lap to get up to speed, and Alex, the cameraman from Budapest, doing a brilliant job around that bend as the leaders come in to the range for the 3rd visit. Top 5 neatly packed together.
It is 3 green lights for Mohammed and Hume. Mohammed is out of the shooting range. Hume is still 3 green lights sitting there. It is Hassan who's now on 3 green lights. And it's for Kalaminska out of the shooting range. 3rd, and behind him is Hume.
Absolutely stunning as 9th place man enters the range. It's going to be tight. I think Karachin has closed the gap up here massively. And Lavilat on the right, standing in front of position number 8. Eyes on the prize, but it's Karachin who is trying to hunt him down. Great from the Italian and the French athlete coming out at the same time. Karachin struggling again in the range in 10th. He's still got 2 to go, and he's going to get overtaken by Tasyanin, the man with the red cap, now in 10th position, hunting down Gavriloi of Italy. Lavilat has switched places, and it looks like on the track itself, the Italian has decided, I'm not having it, and moves back up into 8th position. Lavilat on the bubble in 9th, but there's now under 30 meters, or maybe around about 30 meters between 9 and 10. The Italian and the French athlete perhaps working together.
No, they're definitely keeping up pace there as they make their way for the next lap. Lavilat really redeemed himself on that last shooting series, but it's Gavriloli who is keeping pace with Lavilat. Tasyaran still trying to look for that 9th position. It all comes down to the shooting range.
Well, those 2 athletes seemingly working together. The Italian drafting the French down the back straight, and now coming around the top bend. And I've got to say, Tasyaran is putting in a huge amount of effort as the leaders get the bell. One more visit to the range for them before their final 600 meters. Tasyaran, if he can get a good shoot on his 4th visit, he could be in with a shout of making the final. Lavilat and Gavriloi making the run as the leaders are in the range.
Hassan on 2 green lights, Mohammed on 3. We have James who's sitting on 2 green lights, and it's Motaz Mohammed of Egypt. Behind him, Kalaminskas and Hassan.
Well, as they leave the range, the bubble, 8th and 9th are in. It's Lavilat standing in position number 8, and that is Gavriloi. He's blowing hard and both of them have only got one light each as Tashiran comes in. Can Tashiran join this chase for 9th place? He's on 2 out of 5. On 3 out of 5, Tashiran is going to have a chance here as Lavilat leads the bridge in 8th place, and Tashiran of Turkey has taken 9th, and the Italian still struggling in the range. Gavrilo, he still cannot get out of the range. He was blowing hard. Finally, he gets his 5th shot, but Tashiran has put in a stunning performance. He's now in 9th. He's in with a shout of making the men's final here.
Incredible comeback from Tashiran, who started out in 14th position, redeemed himself in this last shooting series. Tashiran can get this spot for the 9th position. He will be fighting for this spot in the men's final.
And you can see behind Tashiran here, he's just looking over his shoulder because Gavrilo is not given up on this. He's still pushing hard behind, but Tashiran, the man we're focused on, who might catch Gavrilo in the background coming around the bend.
Just look at all these positions gained from Tashiran. 5 positions, Mohammed 4, and Kalaminskas 4 as well. Kalaminskas in a comfortable position. We have the leading pack almost finishing their last lap, but the man of the match is Tashiran from Turkey.
He's looking over his shoulder still as the leaders have really eased up here, and Tashiran is going to come over the line in 9th place, not too far behind them. They're all coming across in a gaggle for the finish here. The front runners are through and they are into the final, but coming up to the line in 9th position. What a run and what a shoot from Tashiran of Turkey. He has qualified and taken out this Italian who did so well until the final visit to the range where it all fell apart. Making it through to the Junior World Championship final, Rybak, Hassan, Mohammed, Kalaminska, Bovrov, Lee, Hume, Lavilat, and the man of the semi-final here, Turkey's Tashiran.
What a race. Really, what a race. But here we just welcome Karachin. Also had a great run, and Tomita of Japan finishing strong.
Yeah, he did really well, didn't he? He was in 17th position at the start of the race, and he's managed to finish in 14th, although that will be time adjusted. Brutal conditions here. You've got to feel for Italy as Pavellini comes across the line, but it's not Pavellini you've got to feel for, it's his teammate, Gavrilo. He was in position all the way through. He'd fought so hard to make it into that top 9, and he was just outdone in the final visit to the range.
Yeah, just that last green light that he was sitting on. And I tell you, when you're standing there in the range and you're shooting with people next to you, you get a sense of, you get nervous. It's you sort of having in the corner of your peripheral what your opponent is doing. But great work from Tashiran of Turkey into the Junior World Champs final.
Started 14, and we take a look back at the action, getting their numbers put on, the numbers for the mass runner, the positions that you start in, as James Hume came out of the start-finish, followed by Lee. This group started with a bit of comfort. A couple of the Egyptians are already gone. Lavilat and Gavrilo pretty much sitting in 8th and 9th all the way through. There were some changeovers at the front. It was pretty impressive from the 2 Egyptians in the range. Karachin was in with a chance as well of qualifying in 9th position, but he had a little struggle, I think, on the 2nd visit to the range. Lavilat, France, was solid throughout, swapping places with the Italian, who they seem to be working together. Brilliant visit to the range, 2nd visit to the range from Hassan, who came out in the lead, and Mohammed then switched places with him. Lavilat looked solid and confirmed, but this man here, Gavrilo, the range was what outdid him. Lavilat clear. This was the 3rd visit, and The two Italian and French athletes working together, drafting each other through the laps. And then blowing hard in the range. Lavalak got out and he looked solid and confirmed, but here was the moment that broke the Italians' hearts and raised the spirits for all in Turkey. From Istanbul to Antalya, they would have been jumping up and down. The leading group all decided to come over the line together. Great camaraderie. They knew that they'd made the final. And you saw the athletes all talking beforehand. But the man crossing the line in 9th position, Kivanc Tasyarin, did it all in the final visit to the range, breaking the heart of Gavriloy. I am the man. Yes, you are. And you have made the Junior World Championship final here in Hungary. Well, what a performance we saw from the athletes. And this is the final standings. The defending champion in the end finishing top of the pile. But this group of 5 all came across the line roughly at the same sort of time. Lee Ju-chan coming through in 6th. Not too far behind, but they controlled the final lap. Once they got out of the range on their 4th visit, they were in control of everything. And this is where we saw tears of joy and tears of despair. Kivanc Tasyarin getting into the 9th and final place for a place in the race for gold here at the World Championships, breaking Diego Gavriloy's heart. Coming through at the back, the other Italian, Pavellini. And after these 18 athletes have taken through the 5 disciplines, we now have half of the men's final complete. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we go, let's take a look back at the laser run.